So CNBC published a story today on their site with the title, Wall Street Executives Are Glad Joe Biden Picked Kamala Harris to be his vice president running mate. That's the title of it. Joel, on Tuesday, Biden finally announced his vice president pick. He pretty much handcuffed himself, what was it, about 6 months ago, saying his choice of VP would be a woman, and particularly 4 black women are on his short list, which I kind of love that he said that, right? He just couldn't say women on his list. It's definitely going to be women. He made the point to use the word black, right? I mean, imagine if someone running for president said, my vice president pick is going to be an old male and 4 white ones are on my short list. Imagine if somebody said that. I mean, that person would be kicked out of the race before he even finished that sentence. But I love the politicalness. I know it's probably not a word, but you know what I mean? Of making sure that you use the right words and throw in black in there, try to attract more voters, right? Which I think is hilarious. Anyway, Joe finally picked Kamala Harris on Tuesday, who was the odds-on favorite, right? His supporters cheered. Today when I asked Biden, hey, what was the biggest factor in choosing Kamala Harris? He said, wait a minute, I picked Kamala Harris to be my vice president yesterday? I'm joking. I know Republicans attack him. I know he makes a lot of gaffes. I get it. It's a joke. Getting back to the CNBC story here. How Wall Street executives love the Kamala Harris pick. And I found that a little surprising. And Harris is the U.S. Senator of California, right? We have the large tech companies there. We have Apple, Google, headquartered in California, right? Apple's closing $2 trillion. $2 trillion. Trillion dollar. Can't believe I'm saying that. Market cap. Google's making its way there. You have Netflix, Facebook, also in California. Amazon, Microsoft, pretty close. They're in Seattle. And those companies alone represent 23% of the entire S&P 500 based on market cap, have billions, and billions of pocket change to support the candidate. I get it. So when you say tech executives, if that's what the headline was, I would agree with it. Tech executives love the pick. Okay, that's fine. Since she's pretty freaking left, right? There's no question about that. I mean, just go back to her record. And again, you're going to think it's political. It's not. I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about this and why it's important for your investments. When you look at her policies, no fracking, defund the police, massive goal control measures, all things she said, no autonomous vehicles, since she threatened to bring a lawsuit against Uber if they didn't remove their driverless vehicles, right, from California, if you remember that. Free college, free healthcare for everyone, including people who are in the state illegally. Again, things that she said. Eliminate all private health insurance. That, by the way, killed her presidential campaign. I mean, her numbers crashed as soon as she said that. She almost had the race immediately. She wants to raise teachers' salaries, support AOC's new Green Deal, which, I mean, I don't know if you guys actually took a look at that, right? Which is funny. And it calls for the elimination of all carbon emissions, right? So no cargo ships, cars running on gasoline, no airplanes. No airplanes. Sorry if you live in Hawaii and there's a Category 5 hurricane coming your way. Too bad. You can't fly off the island because there's no more airplanes. Sorry. No more nuclear plants, which is one of the cheapest, safest, definitely misunderstood, but cleanest baseload energies in the world. Supplies 20% of the electricity in the United States. I mean, looking at that deal, quick question for AOC is, I know all the homework you put in to all this, right? To really come up with this new Green Deal, but if there's no fracking, no nuclear, I mean, you look at energy here, how are we going to actually import our energy, import oil? You can't fly it, right? Because airplanes don't exist. You can't ship it, right? Cargo ships. So I guess we'll worry about that later on. We'll worry about that later. Not a big deal. Just that's your Green Deal. But I would love for you to answer that question. Just interested. But these are Kamala's policies, which in turn are mostly Joe Biden's policies or things he needs to support to get votes. So I understand the pick. I mean, Harris is definitely the most qualified out of the choices that he left himself. She's going to do good in debates. I think she's great on stage. She's not going to make many mistakes on a campaign trail where she's going to put her foot in the mouth. I don't see that. I mean, she made that mistake when it came to private healthcare. Plus, she caters to the wealthiest people on the planet, running these giant tech companies in California. So the pick makes sense. What I don't understand is the story I'm seeing out there, and it's not just CNBC. I'm not criticizing CNBC at all, but this is their story. They interviewed a whole bunch of people in that story. If you want to read it, I think it's one of the top stories in CNBC today. how this is great and all these, executives from wherever who support this pick and or Democrats, they love it. But I don't understand how anyone can say that Wall Street, right? Not tech execs, but Wall Street likes this pick. And I thought everybody hated Wall Street. I'm on Wall Street, right? I'm not on Wall Street anymore, but I understand. That's why I created this podcast, right? Because there's a lot of bullshit out there. You guys listen to me. I tell you the truth. I want to level that playing field for mom and pop investors, bring everything I've learned for 25 years to you. That's why I've been doing this for 12 years. The viewership's going up thanks to you, spreading the word. Again, always open, always honest. And that doesn't make me favorable a lot of places. You don't see TV stations, which I used to be on all the time, calling me to go on their shows. I don't give a shit about that. I don't care. That's not me. That's not what our brand is about. I mean, I'm not going to say something just to get more popular someplace else or to be on a show and change what I believe. No way. But let's face it, when it comes to Wall Street, most people out there, they don't like it. It's big money, donations, rich get richer. And that has always been a knock against Trump, right? Because Wall Street's been doing good and he has favorable corporate policies, lower taxes. But did that just switch or something? I mean, that just switched. Now Wall Street loves Kamala Harris. I don't understand like the back and forth. Like, because when I'm looking at her policies and Wall Street, businesses are going to see the corporate tax rate move incredibly higher, right? Everyone agrees with this. Biden wins, and Biden came out and said that personally, right? So if you're a Wall Street, that's what they're saying. Wall Street loves this. That means your taxes are going to go higher on the corporate level. And higher taxes, if you're looking at tax, when you cut this tax rate, that this money flows into the pocket of business owners. I mean, you could say, well, the stock price could go higher, but you're using that money, at least most businesses should, not all of them do. But for us, for my business, using that money to hire more people to grow faster. It's the reason why I don't support healthcare for all. Yes, it would be nice, but not to the point where I work my ass off 15 hours a day to try to provide you guys the best research out there and make you guys money. And now my healthcare costs are up tremendously. Anyone who owns a business will tell you there's no more good benefits unless you work for the state, the city. Benefits are horrible. You got to pay co-pays all the time. You got the money coming out of business, especially now. So many businesses are doing worse with COVID and were forced to shut down, are cutting a lot of these benefits. As a business owner, these are things that I support. But if you're looking at that, lower corporate taxes means more jobs. So more jobs, I guess, hey, Wall Street doesn't mind. They want to pay more. They don't like the way things have gone, but that's fine. No matter where you support, doesn't matter. But also no fracking. Wall Street supports this because that's the agenda here. No fracking. I mean, how could any oil company, hundreds of publicly traded on Wall Street, support this? Talk about millions of no more fracking. Fracking disappears. Millions and millions of Americans are going to be out of jobs. Nuclear, eliminate nuclear altogether. Altogether eliminate nuclear. No, we're going to come up with the energy. Just eliminate the whole thing. Again, more jobs. Private health insurance companies. You want to get rid of private healthcare insurance altogether? Do Wall Street executives in this field support this? Do auto executives on Wall Street support Biden and Harris? I mean, really? Elimination of cars, which again is a far stretch, is not going to happen. And not that Biden's going to adopt the new Green Deal policy, because Kamala likes it. Again, the vice president is really a non-issue, to be honest with you. It's a non-issue. I mean, it creates a lot of noise, just like Sarah Palin. You need to create noise to this pick, and I think they're doing a good job of it, which is fine. But you're looking at some of the things, even in the auto industry, right? Yes, we're seeing new electric vehicles on the market. We're finally seeing Teslas here and there, right? See them on the road. Electric cars make up 2% of the entire U.S. fleet. 2% right now. So look at around 350,000 electric vehicles expected to be sold this year, compared to 16.5 million of the total vehicle sales in the U.S. It's a very tiny percentage. So auto executives are going to support a Biden win. So the Wall Street thing really took me by surprise. I would think Wall Street would be more in favor of Trump, lower taxes and things like that. Again, we're talking about Wall Street, okay? Again, most people hate Wall Street, and that's fine. And you should, because there's a lot of bullshit that goes on I saw firsthand, which is a reason why I don't work on Wall Street anymore. And I want to bring this to Main Street, where everybody can make money together. But going through this, it's not a political agenda, all right? My job is to make you money. So I have to pay attention to politics because their policy is going to have a massive impact on many sectors, which is going to determine whether you're going to make money or not, right? Your portfolio, your allocation. So how as an investor do you position yourself? Because you can't tell me a Trump win is great for Wall Street and now a Biden win, right? Now they ask Kamala Harris on a ticket, is also good for Wall Street, which, by the way, is the biggest red flag for any company. As a person who listens to tons of conference calls, thousands, if not tens of thousands over the last 2 decades, listening to these calls, it's the biggest red flag when a company says something like this. If X happens, it's going to be great for us. But if it doesn't, or Y happens, that's also going to be great for us. No, just sell the stock. Okay, you can't tell me something that's going to be significant is going to be great for you no matter what. No, there's got to be something that's good for you and something that's bad for you. No, maybe it benefits you a little bit, and the decision, if it happens, it benefits you a ton. But it's never like, oh, they're both going to be great for us. No, if a company says that, good luck. Just get out of the stock. It means the CEO's talking shit. But right now, saying that, hey, Trump wins, that's great for Wall Street, right? Because we saw favorable corporate policies, which has benefited Wall Street, and the rich get richer, right? We're not getting political here. And now you tell me Wall Street also is happy about the Kamala pick and supporting it now and supporting Biden, which again, looking at this whole entire thing and put in perspective, it is kind of crazy. Now, when we look at the election, it is going to have a significant impact on your portfolio, especially if the Democrats get a clean sweep of the House, the Senate, and a Biden win, which is projecting the polls right now, which we know all meaningless, right? If we look back at the last election. Because if you look at Democrats, they talk about this a lot. Schumer, Pelosi, across the board. Obama mentioned it about eliminating the filibuster, so they won't need 60 votes in the Senate or bipartisan support to pass their agenda. That's put in place so you don't have times like this where if it's a clean sweep, you only need, 50 in the Senate. You have more than 50 votes in the Senate, and that's all you need to pass your agenda. Meaning that party, say if the Democrats win, right, they're going to be able to pass any measure they want. No more guns. Hey, fuck you. No more fracking. Fuck you. No more planes. Fuck you. Could pass anything they want. On both sides, you could say the same thing where if Republicans had a clean sweep, right, and eliminated the filibuster. You need those other votes to put things in perspective. Say, wait a minute, guys, don't be stupid. You can't have everything you want. Yes, you're going to get some things. You deserve it. You won. And what I'm saying is going to have a significant impact on your portfolio. I'm not saying if a Democrats win, your portfolio is going to get slaughtered. It's about positioning yourself in the right sectors. So say if Biden wins, renewable energy is going to soar. Cannabis, heavily supported by Democrats, right? Most conservatives still on the fence. Both healthcare and biotech stocks, especially biotech, REITs, consumer staples. I would buy China-based stocks. So I think a lot of what Trump did will get rolled back. European automakers, since they're probably going to see lower tariffs, right? Trump, just raising tariffs, no BS, whether you agree with it or not. I'm just talking about probably going to reverse a little bit. It's going to be good for European automakers. Insurance and small to mid-sized banking as laws will be passed, right? More regulation to help these guys, which I kind of think, it's a good thing. And if you look at the banking sector, right, it's the only sector where there's no way, if you're small mid-cap, that you could become a major. I mean, Facebook, look what Facebook did, right? Whether you liked them or not, they became a powerhouse. Started from the ground up, became a powerhouse. You look at other industries, right? You could do that in other industries. In finance, based on the laws, how much capital you have to keep, it's impossible. They pick the majors. Here they are. Too bad. That's what they're going to be for a very, very long time. Again, those laws are put in place. It's crazy. It's like trying to start your own fund right now. If you try to start a fund, the cost to start your fund, you need minimum minimum $150 million under management, unless you're charging 25% fees on profits or hedge fund. But if you're looking at the normal rate, which is below 1% these days, but even at 1.5%, I mean, it's millions and millions of dollars in regulation. It's almost impossible. So the big get bigger and bigger. The reason why some of the BlackRocks and CalPERS, or you're looking at all these places, it's no more, hey, $100 billion. It's trillions they're managing. Trillions and trillions and trillions. Vanguard, trillions. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You don't have choices. But if Trump wins, kind of the status quo, what's going on right now, again, probably good for business, but I'm being told by reading a story on CNBC that no matter who wins, it's going to be good for Wall Street. Wall Street loves this pick. Wall Street loves Trump wins, loves, but kind of the status quo. Now, why am I talking about all this? Because, of course, you have emotions. Everybody has those emotions when it comes to who you like, who you listen to, what station you listen to. Again, I don't give a shit about that. But it's important to understand, because the best way to position your portfolio right now, with the election just a few months away, is to buy the sectors and stocks that are going to benefit no matter who wins. Because remember something, our politicians don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about me. They don't care about Black Lives Matter. They don't care about green energy. They care about votes. They care about power. To the point where Kamala Harris said she believes those women who said that they were sexually assaulted by Biden. She said, I believe they're telling the truth, and basically called him a racist during a debate, right? Yet she's running side by side with Biden now. If you truly believe those things, your character, if you believe those things, would you associate yourself with that person? Absolutely not. But it's politics, it's power, it's votes. It's on both sides. You see it on both sides, guys. But care about yourself, care about your families, because the media, especially over the next few months into this election, they're going to go crazy. You're going to hear so many crazy stories about what these guys did when they were 18 years old. They're going to bring up so much dirt, so much crap, try to destroy the hell. I have no idea why Kamala Harris would even want to be the vice president right now. I mean, if you look at how every single person, you can go back to the Obama era that he chooses for his cabinet, who gets grilled at Congress, and look at Trump. They just destroyed Eric Kavanaugh, what they did to that poor guy. Jesus. I mean, they tried to destroy that poor guy. So you know she's going to get it, right? I mean, I don't know what, but that's okay. You know why? Because power is more important than anything, which means nothing to you. What you care about is your portfolio making money, a generational wealth. That's what you need to care about. If you want to get ahead of this, buy the sectors and stocks that are going to benefit from either outcome, whoever gets elected, which are dividend-paying growth stocks with interest rates super low. I think cannabis is going to benefit no matter what, as well as online gambling, because these states, they're all broke, right? They're all broke. They're going to have to legalize this across the board. They got to find ways to get revenue. Housing, home builders, home retailers are going to continue to soar. Again, low interest rates, mortgage rates, record lows. Most healthcare stocks, especially biotech, both support this industry. And you need to own gold, continue to own gold. And you say, well, Frank, why those sectors? Because no matter who wins, I just said it, every state is broke. Our economy's not going to get back to 100% until at least 2022. Remember when they thought it was going to be 6 months, right? The pandemic, 6 months, we'll get back to normal. We see a quick V-shape. So a V-shape in stocks, the economy not even close. But probably longer than 2022. I mean, when do you see people sitting on the middle seat feeling comfortable, even with a vaccine out there? I'm not talking about the Russia vaccine. I'm talking about a real vaccine that's out there that people trust. A lot of people aren't going to take that, but still sit. When do you see that? Going to the middle seat in a plane, that's 100% capacity. That means everybody's okay. Going to hotels, they don't mind about anything anymore. Not wearing masks anymore. Do you see that happening? And this could be a fundamental change for a very, very long time, which is going to impact a lot of different companies here and there. But when you're looking at our situation, the scenario right now is not going to change no matter who gets elected. The gap between rich and poor people are going to continue to widen. We're going to have low interest rates, which are going to make assets continue to inflate. The Fed's going to have to continue printing money, right? Because of this gap, it's still going to be, I know we're bragging that the jobless number, hey, things are getting better. I mean, of course they're getting better. Look where they were. We're still at a 10% unemployment rate, which is unheard of. That's worse than the credit crisis, but that's good now. That's great. Markets at stocks all-time highs, we're fine. That's great. Nobody cares. But when the Fed is forced to keep rates low and adopt certain policies, which I talked about, yield curve control and things like that, it's the reason why I think small caps are going to really take off. Cyclical names, I'll get to that later on, educational segment. But if you look at where the Fed has to stay, they have to keep interest rates low. They have to continue to inflate this market. You're going to see that gap between rich and poor widen, no matter who gets elected. And that's going to impact a lot of sectors, especially the ones I mentioned. And one particular sector that I didn't mention yet, which is going to be a huge beneficiary, maybe the biggest over the next few years, again, no matter who gets elected, is cryptos. Specifically the larger ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum. We've quite a bit over the past 2 months. The companies are actually you got to see the news on Bitcoin lately. I mean, companies actually investing in this now. I mean, this is a big deal. It's here. It's not something that's fake or going to zero. No, absolutely not. And not only have these bigger names quite a bit, but so have security tokens, something I talked about for a while. So security tokens are not utility tokens or what you see normal cryptos, where the utilities, which is the ones that you see every place, other than, I think Bitcoin is not considered a security or, it's outside of that. But when you're looking at a lot of this other bullshit, again, I've analyzed so many of these companies for my newsletter, Crypto Intelligence, where 87%, I'm talking about probably 1,000 of these I looked at, are really worthless. I mean, their token is absolutely worthless because they don't provide equity stake for you. What these utility tokens do, their values derive from the services you could use from that token. So you buy the token and, hey, I could use it for this and I could use it for this part and get access to this on a website or whatever, trading or whatever. That's cool. When you have Binance, that token, you could use it, get discounts. Most of these guys don't even have working websites. They have nothing. The token is completely useless. And if somebody believes their technology is great and comes in and takes them over $50 billion, you get nothing, zero, because you don't have an equity stake. People still don't understand that when it comes to utility tokens. Security tokens are totally different. They're like stocks. You offer your equity stake in a business and some pay a dividend. I believe this industry so much, I launched our Curzio Equity Owners Token, CEO token, last year to credit investors. The lockup period is approaching, and we're going to be the first security token in the world to trade on a global exchange, available in 30 countries, that's available for retail investors to trade. That's mom and pop investors. Going to be the first to do that. It's a lot of work that we're doing behind the scenes to make that happen. It's looking like a September launch to go free trading. I'll send you those details once it happens. But more to the point is the CEO token or our token, security tokens out there, what ours does is we give you a direct equity stake, right? In our business, in the Curzio research, which you can't get anywhere in the financial newsletter publishing industry. They don't give equity stakes for anything. No way. You can generate $300 million in revenue and be responsible for building up these divisions. And no matter what, they're like, F you. Nope, you don't get an equity stake. Sorry. Maybe shadow equity. Learn that term. It's pretty funny. Just the name of it is funny, shadow equity. If you own shadow equity, guys, you should see a lawyer. Seriously, you should see a lawyer. Make sure you get something in writing. That's all I'm saying. But for our token, and we're also paying a 3% dividend. So what are security tokens? It's tokenization, right? The selling off of the price of an asset, usually in a liquid one, like real estate or commercial real estate that mom and pop investors could never own. It could be debt. It could be collectibles. In our case, a small growth company that's now open for the public to buy. The cost to do this were 1/10 of if we decide to go on an exchange. It's better for investors because the lockup period is quicker, where if you invested in a private company, the average payback period, that liquidity event happens 7 to 10 years, where I'm either going to have to get bought out or an IPO. And what do? You're stuck with that. You're sitting in the freaking, you're just sitting there doing that. This is 1 year later. You're able to trade it. It makes sense. But the most important thing is, what do you see with IPOs these days? They all come out at crazy valuations. Uber, Facebook, all of them. Wouldn't it be nice if you could be Peter Thiel investing in these things at the very early stages of growth and not where most of the growth has already taken place? When these things come out, billion-dollar valuations? And yes, it's risky, and some companies are going to fail, and most small companies fail, yes. But given this opportunity, the due diligence process to see these companies growing and to get them on certain exchanges, for the opportunity for you to buy these and generate income in a world like our 3% yield is pretty freaking good right now compared to, I mean, almost every single company out there, even the ones that do provide yield. But this is the opportunity where you're seeing security tokens, and it took a while for this industry to get going. We're super early to this party, started gaining steam. Then we had COVID, which slowed everything down. But right now, guys, right now, pay attention to this. Okay, the sector is absolutely soaring. Seen a market cap, overall market cap, continue to hit record highs. It's opened up a huge market for mom and pop investors to truly buy companies like ours during their super early growth phases. Maybe we fail, maybe you lose your money, but at least you have the opportunity, because if it works out and we turn into a multi-billion-dollar corporation, you're going to be filthy rich.